everyone, and sunny greetings from the Nürburgring. It's incredible. It's the second half of the DTM season 2020 already. Only 9 races to go, and we're here at the Nürburgring, and the man who just seems unbeatable is Nico Müller, who's just waving to the fans. Nico, it's really incredible this season. I mean, you're just leading the pack, and your car really seems to be on the fly. So how does it feel today, the car?
Yeah, very good. I mean, qualifying wasn't very straightforward today. I had a mistake on my first run, so I knew I only had one chance left and had to make that one stick, and luckily it worked out, so it felt good, you know, to prove that point, and to again put it on pole is very important, obviously, after, you know, such a, let's say, tough qualifying. And yeah, I hope to have another decent race today. I think it will be much more difficult than yesterday. People have had time to analyze and, you know, make steps forward, and they probably had a bit more potential in the back than we had after a very good day yesterday. So I expect a tough and exciting race.
All right, hopefully we'll see some good fights out there. Thank you, Nico. And now here's your commentator.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Yes, welcome along everybody to day 2 here at the Nürburgring. Chris Hartley here, trackside, to talk you through what's going to be another 55-minute plus 1 lap race. Nico Müller, the man of the moment, in pretty invincible form yesterday, as Verena said, in both the qualifying session and indeed in the race, which he won by 15.5 seconds yesterday. But he gave us all a little scare this morning in qualifying, because after the first set of runs, he was only in 7th place after a mistake on his lap, as he said there, on the way into turn 1. So he had one chance to put it right, and that he did. 1 minute 46.9 seconds. Not quite as quick as he went yesterday. Slightly different conditions today on the track this morning, but very similar. He was a 10th slower than yesterday, but he's still the only driver in qualifying to break the 1:47.2 barrier. You can see Gerhard Berger, the chairman of the ITR, run DTM to the right of the previous shots. Speaking of Jens Markart, the motorsport director for BMW, trying to keep cool, and with some tunes on is Fabio Scherer, one of the newcomers to DTM this season, new to touring car racing, having predominantly raced in single-seaters up to this point. So Müller on pole position, but only just over a 1/10 of a second quicker than Robin Frijns, who set a low 1:47.0, and that means that Robin went 4/10 quicker in qualifying today than he did yesterday. René Rast starts 3rd, Mike Rockenfeller starts 4th, Loic Duval starts 5th, Jamie Green starts in 6th place, and then starting in 7th place is the South African driver Sheldon van der Linde, who's speaking now down on the grid with Verena.
The best BMW is Sheldon van der Linde in P7. And Sheldon, you seem to be in very good spirits. We're chatting away about the weather and everything, so are you hoping to dash all the way forward?
Yeah, of course. I mean, yesterday the start was a disaster for me, I have to be honest. I need to be better at that. In Lausitzring we seem to have gotten a nice rhythm on the starts, but then for whatever reason we started struggling after that, so we really need to just obviously do the analysis and then try and do it better today. Starts all about confidence, so hopefully I can start today with a mega start, and then from there onwards we start building it up, because my qualifying is always strong, the race is always strong. We just need to nail the starts now in the first 2 laps.
And just quickly, there's 6 Audis ahead of you. Is that a little bit scary?
Scary, I wouldn't say, no. Maybe for them it's a bit scary knowing that there's 7 BMWs behind them. So
good point.
No, I mean, yeah, we just see how it goes. Of course, the race is long, and tires will definitely play a part, strategy as well. So we'll try and put the boys under pressure and see how they react to it. Normally they're very good under pressure until now. So yeah, we're going to try something different and see if it works.
All right, you go for it. Thank you, Sheldon.
Cheers.
Back to you.
Yeah, very chilled out Sheldon van der Linde there, who's been on a real high since that maiden victory scored at Assen last weekend. And, well, hopefully he'll have a good race here, because the family, and his brother in particular, got good links with the Nürburgring, because his brother Kelvin van der Linde was the first ever South African to win the Nürburgring 24-hour race. Kelvin is going to be here competing in that in 2 weeks' time, a weekend after the second DTM venture here. And Sheldon is one of many of the DTM drivers that are going to be involved in the 24-hour race as well. They're not racing together, but rather against each other in the 24-hour. Robert Kubica, who had a good qualifying session, much better than yesterday, and has put the all-in ART GP machine 9th on the grid with a time of 1 minute 47.8 seconds. So Robert Kubica hoping for some points in this second race of the weekend here at the Nürburgring, and Verena has found him down on the grid.
And And starting in P9 is Robert Kubica, his best qualifying result in the DTM so far. So Robert, how does it feel from P9, and do you have a good feeling for the race?
Well, yeah, I mean, for sure it's better starting P9 than far behind on the grid. The feeling in the car was better in qualifying than all weekend, so let's hope this will stay alive also for the race. Yesterday has been a quite difficult day, and yeah, sometimes even more than disappointing with no pace and no feeling. Today, as I said, the feeling is better, so let's hope we'll be able to stay in the fight, and let's see what the race will bring.
Yeah, we're curious to find out. Thank you very much, and best of luck for the race. Back to you.
Well, we know he's an excellent driver. You don't get 12 podiums in what was a relatively short Formula One career and a Grand Prix victory if you're not. So the Polish fans will be willing Robert along, see if he can get his second points finish of the season after getting a 10th place at Assen last weekend and 2 races ago. And the second race at Assen, he might have got points as well, but the wet conditions, the team it later transpired put the wrong set of wet tyres on, which had higher pressures than the ones he'd been aiming to put on, and that possibly cost him some points there. So the grid's starting to be cleared now. As Verena said, we're into the second half of the season now. 9 races complete, 9 to go, and Nico Müller is the championship leader after scoring 3 more championship points for pole position this morning. He's on 195 points now. Robin Frijns is on 151 points and is his closest rival, but the gap between them is 44 points. However, the gap between them in qualifying this morning was much less than it was this time yesterday. So Robin Frijns second on the grid, and we can hear from him now with Verena.
And now I've got the man here who's on P2, and it's Robin Frijns. And Robin, I mean, it's a battle between you and Nico mainly this season, and it's been in the qualifying, it's very short, I think 1/10 difference. So what's your gut feeling for the race? Can you catch him?
I think I have a good feeling today, much better than yesterday. Even in the race yesterday, I was always stuck behind René, so I couldn't really show my true potential. But yesterday, the pure pace-wise was fine, and yeah, if I feel better today, I think we were in a good position to fight them till the end.
All right, Robin, you go for it. Thank you so much, and back to you.
Thanks very much, Verena. Yeah, I grabbed a chat with Robin after the race yesterday. If you were watching yesterday, he was having that titanic battle pretty much all the way through the race with René Rast for second place. And late in the race, he had a big lunge on the brakes down into turn 1 to try and get through. The door closed as René headed into the corner, and he had to take to the curb. Robin Frijns clattered into the curb, 3 wheels off the ground, and the car was completely imbalanced and sent into a spin. So he dropped down the pack. He recovered quickly, but dropped down to 5th place. But I spoke to him afterwards, and he said, you know, what did that look like from your point of view? Do you think it looked optimistic? Because from the inside, it felt like, you know, I'd got the job done until the door closed and I had to take to the curb. And I said, well, Robin, I didn't think you were going to go for it on that particular lap, but I thought that was where you would probably have a go because it was so quick coming out of the final corner. I said, but once you did try the move, it looked to me like you were going to do it until you hit that curb, and that was what unsettled the car. So it was almost a fantastic move from Robin Frijns, but he said he didn't have any regrets because, hey, he said, we're racing drivers. We've got to go for it, haven't we? And I'm sure he's going to go for it today to try and reduce this deficit to Nico Müller at the top of the championship table. René Rast, so you can look at there, he's 3rd in the standings on 141 points, so 10 points behind Robin Frijns. And then there's a big gap back to 4th in the championship, which is Loic Duval, who's got 73 points, but had a better qualifying today than yesterday. Loic is going to be starting 5th on the grid for this one, also with a better qualifying today, and his second best qualifying session of the season so far. Jamie Green, who's going to be lining up 6th on the grid. He was one of the race winners here last year, but on the sprint version of the circuit. It's the first time we've used the Grand Prix version of this circuit. It's the first time DTM have used the full circuit since 2001, and the year after that the circuit was changed and extended by about 600 metres or so. It is exactly the same temperature as yesterday, ambient temperature 23 degrees, but walking over to the commentary box, it feels hotter. There's a bit less breeze, and that might mean higher track temperatures, and it might mean that the drivers and teams have to make some slight adjustments to the setups from yesterday. Grid being cleared, and we're all now getting ready for the next race in the DTM 2020. Beautiful part The Nürburgring Castle overlooks the circuit. We've got the Nordschleife right next to us, that historic circuit. Former Grand Prix track, which is over 28 kilometres long. The place is steeped in motorsport history. The greats like Ascari and Jackie Stewart, race winners here on multiple occasions. We're in a picturesque part of the Eiffel Mountains. There from the top of the second highest hill in the Eiffels, you can see the view from the castle over the circuit. And you come into the modern-day Grand Prix version of the circuit, which is adjacent to and connected to the famous Nordschleife. Everywhere there are tributes to some of the great names in motorsport. It's a fantastic venue, and it's also fantastic to have at least a limited number of fans joining us for this 10th race of the season. Absolutely beautiful weather conditions here at the Nürburgring, the first of two back-to-back weekends at this circuit. There you can see the surrounding countryside and hillside. It's a stunning drive from the hotels to the circuit, and up and down narrow, twisty, quite fun roads, I've got to say, on the way to the village and the village hotels, which are around about 20 minutes from here, and give you a great view once you look out of your bedroom window in what is a beautiful part of Western Germany. And there you can see the cars ready to go. This is how they'll line up then. Nico Müller, pole position, 1 minute 46.958. Robin Frijns, only just over a tenth behind him. René Rast, who's on provisional pole halfway through the first part of qualifying, will start third. Mike Rockenfeller fourth. Loic de Waal and Jamie Green, as mentioned, looking good, fifth and sixth after qualifying. Then it's Sheldon van der Linde, who you heard from on the grid. The second best qualifying of the season so far for Jonathan Aberdeen. He starts eighth. Robert Kubica, best qualifying so far in ninth. Marco Wittmann on the podium yesterday, but work to do from 10th. Then we've got on the 6th row Philipp Eng and Timo Glock, to possibly to come forward from there. Lucas Auer and Fabio Scher are looking to score their first points of the weekend on the penultimate row of the grid. Harrison Newey and Ferdinand Habsburg both disqualified from qualifying. They lost their times because the team had to work on the cars in parc fermé conditions. So the most recent news we had was that Newey is going to start from the pit lane. Habsburg's going to start from last place on the grid. They were 15th and 16th fastest, so they've both lost a couple of positions. But hopefully the work they had to do on the car has been worth the loss. There in the centre of the picture is Gerhard Berger, the ITR chairman, who's worked so hard with his team to put together this calendar. The whole season condensed into just 99 days. And hats off to the teams as well, who had to work tremendously hard in between rounds to get the cars ready. This is the second of 3 back-to-back weekends. Assen last weekend, 2 on the trot here at the Nürburgring. And of course a lot of the drivers, as I say, like Mike Rockenfeller, Nico Müller, René Rast, Sheldon van der Linde, to name but a few, are all going to be taking part in the Nürburgring 24-hour race around the Nordschleife for the weekend after that as well. So they're sort of based here, not necessarily staying here all the time. They'll be here for much of this 3-week period. It is indeed a little bit warmer on the track temperature. It's not huge amounts, but it's a degree hotter, and tiny fractions make big differences in DTM. So it's a fraction warmer. Ambient temperature is about half a degree warmer than it was yesterday. But the track temperature is a degree up as well. So it's not that different, but it does definitely feel differently as you're walking around the paddock, just because there's that little less breeze than there was yesterday. It's going to be hot work for the drivers, that's for sure. 55 minutes plus 1 lap of racing. And they can see the crowd who are all sat in their own bubbles, but socially distanced from everybody else. Sell out for the amount of tickets that were released, and it's great to have them only for the second time in DTM watching the races live. As for the rest of the point standings away from the Drivers' Championship after the first race yesterday and qualifying this morning, Team Abbott Sportsline continue to lead the team standings from Team Rosberg. Team Phoenix are in 3rd place. It's 346 points now for Abbott Sportsline, who run the driver you're looking at, Nico Müller and Robin Frijns, top 2 in the championship. And they've scored more points than everybody else, with 2 drivers combined in all but 1 race so far this season. Audi Sport Team Rosberg, 188 points, a long way behind, but second in the standings. And at the local circuits, Audi Sport Team Phoenix are 3rd on 137 points, BMW Team RMG 4th on 127. As for the brand standings, Audi 620 points now, BMW 275 points. They're tied for points in the second race around the Lausitzring GP. But otherwise, Audi have scored more points than BMW combined in all 4 races. For the brand championship, it's the top 4 drivers from each brand that count towards the points. So there you go, Harrison Newey starting from the pit lane will rejoin onto the back of the train now, and we'll have Hammersberg and Newey on that final row of the grid as you get once more a reminder of the way they're going to line up for this 10th race of the season. Nico Muller has been making good starts this year, had a really good start to the race yesterday. There'll be a couple of occasions I can think of at Landshutring and also at Assen where when he was a bit further down the grid he got off the line well, but got sort of boxed out through the first 2 or 3 corners and lost positions. But if you can hook it up, it's going to be hard to beat if he gets to the first corner first. And I think Robin Frijns will know that. He'll be absolutely determined to try and outgun him into turn 1. He might see that as his biggest chance. Muller, 4 wins now this season. Already more wins than he scored in the entire 2019 campaign. And in the last few weeks, in the last 9 races, he's managed to double the amount of wins that he had to his total name in 7 years of DTM. So trying to build the heat into the tyres, but not too aggressively, so you damage the surface of the tyre. Great onboard views will get us ever in the race. As René Rast making his way around here. First corner is going to be interesting because it's hard on the brakes into the Yokohama S. It's a wide exit. If you stay out wide, you can get the better line for the left-hander at turn 2, the first part of the Mercedes arena, but it's the hardest point on the brakes into the Yokohama S section. There's a bit of a bump on the way in under braking as well. We particularly look forward to see the cars once again attack the back section of the circuit, which is blindingly quick through out of the Dunlop hairpin and uphill through the Michael Schumacher S in particular, which they approach at close to 200 kilometres an hour. By the time they get out of it, they're about 230 kilometres an hour, almost flat out through the left-right sequence. There's some very quick corners after that as well. Advenbogen, which is a kink rather than a corner out of the back straight, taken flat at 250 kilometres an hour. Right, we are all set then, with the cars making their way down onto the grid, ready for the start of round 10 of the 18-round DTM 2020 Championship. Nico Muller looking strong as ever.
We are going to do a slow approach. 3, 2, 1, go, 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 stop. Perfect. 2, 1, half one, stop, stop, good position.
Florian Rinks guides René Rast into position, and Nico Muller's race engineer Felix Fechner does the same, getting it absolutely spot on. Nico Muller to the right of that wide shot in the 51 car, to the left in the number 4 Audi, Robin Frijns. Heat haze from the back of the cars, a beautiful autumnal day. Can anybody do anything about Nico Muller's dominance so far this weekend here at the Nürburgring? The green flag is waved at the back of the grid. We're about to go racing for the 2nd time this weekend. Chris Hartley here trackside to talk you through round 10 of the DTM 2020. Red lights all go on, the noise crescendos, the race gets underway, and it's a decent start for both of the front row drivers, but Muller is going to get there first. He's going to make sure of it ahead of Frijns. Rast on the brakes trying to close up in 3rd, Rockenfeller in 4th, and then Duval 5th, 6th place for Jamie Green, a little bit wide for Robin Frijns on the exit to the first corner, but he's got the inside line for turn 2. This is where he and Rast came together yesterday on a couple of occasions. There was contact, but for now it's as you were. Muller leading, Frijns in 2nd, Rast 3rd, Rockenfeller in 4th place, Duval, and then Green, and then Sheldon van der Linde, who lost a few places off the start yesterday. As he said though, he needed to put it right, and he has. 1 or 2 running wide, kicking the dust up, getting the cars sideways, but everybody surviving here, that first section, the run through the Mercedes arena. So now they start to descend down the hill through this arcing left-hand section and right down into then the Dunlop curve at 2nd gear, 80 kilometres an hour. On the brakes, that is Marco Wittmann, who's lost places at the start of the race on the inside of the green and white BMW, side by side with Fabio Scherer, and they're going to be together as they go towards the Schumacher S. This left-right combination now, pushing 200 kilometres an hour through there. Over the top of the brow, it's Muller from Frijns, from Rast still, and terrific first lap as well, isn't it? This from Muller so far. He's already edging clear of the pack. The 2 South Africans together, red, white and yellow compatriot Jonathan Aberdeen. On the brakes then into the Vidal chicane for the first time. Muller leading by what looks to be about half a second or so, if not more. Jump starting under investigation for Loic Duval, 5th on the grid. And running in 5th place, so a penalty yesterday for cutting into the pit lane too late and going over the white blend line. A 5-second penalty initially became a 10-second penalty, which dropped him down the order. And at the end of the first lap of the race, it's a 1.1 second lead for Nico Muller. Robin Frijns cannot hang on to him at the moment. 2nd place, 3rd René Rast, 4th, good on the brakes on the way into turn 1 is Mike Rockenfeller, was disappointed with his 4th place finish yesterday. Had an aggressive strategy, went into the pits earlier than most. Used a lot of push to pass, a lot of DRS at that phase when he got onto the 2nd set of tyres to try and build his advantage. And he ran in 2nd place at one point, but then the tyres faded and he dropped back to 5th, which became 4th after Robin Frijns had his spin at turn 1. Great battle going on here between Jamie Green and Sheldon van der Linde. Jamie Green had a big lock-up on the way into the Vidal chicane at the end of lap 1 yesterday, and that flat-spotted his tyres. And he had a terrible vibration after that up until his pit stop. He tried an early pit stop as well, but it was a bit of a horrible race for him. So it was a good race for about 3 corners. He was very much involved in the thick of the action at the start yesterday. Jamie Green, desperate to try and get some points back here, but he has had a good qualifying. He's had a good start to the race. He's got these BMWs not too far behind him though. Sheldon van der Linde there, the number 21 car, and Jonathan Aberdeen, 27, just behind. Philip Eng and Robert Kubica, 9th and 10th. So Robert has dropped a place, but he's still in the points. And no further action about the jump starts investigation for Loic Duval, so there'll be no penalty for the Frenchman. So coming up the hill into the very late braking zone, 2nd gear, 80 kilometres an hour. From around about 270 kilometres an hour go the lead group. Back of the field, there's plenty of action as well. Habsburg and 22 car of Lucas Howe, which has dropped to the back of the field. Replay of the start, there were no real dramas. Timo Glock got a good start. Fabio Scherer looked like he got off the line well as well, which is why he's up to 12th place. And Nico Muller, I think Robin Frijns pretty much matched him off the start, but Nico made sure he got across to cover off the line on the way to turn 1, so there was no thought of Robin Frijns lunging up the inside into that first corner. Robin then had to sort of keep an eye on the mirrors through turn 2 because René Rast had got up onto his tail. And then out wide for more than a couple of drivers as they wrestled for grip at the start of the race. But everybody got through without any real damage. Now, Robin Frijns looks like he's starting to close the gap a bit. In fact, the last lap, yes, he was about a 10th quicker than Muller, and he got the gap down to 0.9 seconds. I think he might be continuing that run of form at the start of this stint as well. Let's have a look. Yeah, through the first set, he's quicker, but only by 0.08 of a second, so it's nothing to write home about, but he's going the right way for Robin. He's slowly closing that gap, and you can see he's very much left René Rast in his mirrors, hasn't he? Rast a long way back in 3rd, and there's Mike Rockenfeller in 4th place, the 2013 champion. Still looking for his first podium of the season, but a driver that's had some decent results so far this year, 7th in the championship. 3 4th place finishes. The podium has thus far eluded him. On board with Sheldon van der Linde then. Hero of Assen, and as we've seen over the races so far, quite often one of the front-running drivers for BMW, especially in qualifying, where he's been, apart from Assen, qualifying very well indeed. So Loic Duval, you're looking at the 28th Audi running in 5th place. Jamie Green in 6th is closer to him now on the way through the final turn at the Hyundai N-Curva. That's the 2nd gear corner, and they go from entering that at about 105 kilometres an hour. By the time they get to the end of the straight, they'll be pushing up towards 270 kilometres an hour in these turbocharged 2-litre DTM cars. Green had to think about looking down the inside. Is that Robert Kubica going for a move as well in the background? Look, he was thinking about it. He didn't go for it in the end, but Kubica looking to get a move on Philip Eng, trying to get his 9th place back. Eng, though, I reckon, stayed ahead of him. So the Team Phoenix, Ernst Moser looking on from the pit wall. Loic Duval, one of their 2 drivers for the local team. Loic struggled with his first set of tyres yesterday, but he was actually pretty pleased with the car after the pit stops. 2nd set of tyres, he was just too far back then to challenge the front runners, and he was also having to add that 10-second penalty to his time at the end of the race, which is why he only finished 9th at the end. He's got cuts out here, though, to try and keep Jamie Green at bay. Green looks the quicker of the two. Green goes for a move. He's going to have to be absolutely committed to it, though, because if he dithers, if he half goes for it and has to get off the throttle, he's going to have Sheldon van der Linde breathing down his neck. Van der Linde has a good run going through the Schumacher S. You're on board with him now. Through into the Ravenel curve, third gear, 135 kilometres an hour. Straight then into the right at Bilstein curve. 135 kilometres an hour. By the time you get to the kink ahead, you're at 250 already through Advan Bogen, despite the fact you're climbing uphill. Leader extending his advantage on the previous lap again to over a second. It's 1.1 at the start of the lap, it's 1.2 seconds through the last split. Ferdinand Habsburg just off the back of the train, just falling away. Struggling for pace at the moment. 153.6 last time around for Ferdinand. So has he got the Austrian a problem with his car, potentially? Or maybe just had a bad laps or a bad sector somewhere. Just think his personal best through sector 1 on that lap. So Habsburg struggling at the back of the pack. Here's the battle for 5th place. 3 of them absolutely together now. And this is the closest scrap within the top 10. Duval versus Green. Duval for Team Phoenix, teammate to Mike Rockenfeller, and Jamie Green for Team Rosberg, teammate to the reigning champion René Rast. Former championship runner-up himself, Jamie Green, and multiple race winner, 17 times a race winner, one of the most experienced drivers ever in DTM. 16 seasons racing DTM, but the first time he has got the chance to drive the full Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit in one of these fantastic cars. Okay, René Rast falling away from Robin Frijns. Mike Rockenfeller hanging on to him as they make their way through the Dunlop curve. No change in that battle behind. Duval actually just edging slightly further clear now of Jamie Green. Robin Frijns is doing a decent job here of hanging on to Nico Muller. But Muller's always quicker the second half of the race, always keeps the speed going. Frijns is giving himself a chance here. He's certainly much quicker than the two behind. Rast in 3rd and Rockenfeller in 4th. Sheldon van der Linde currently running in 7th place, high place BMW. South African Jonathan Aberdeen is just about 0.3 of a second behind, closes the gap as they hit the brakes for turns 14, 15 and 16. The Vidal chicane running together and just dropping back a little bit on that lap from Jamie Green. Great shot as they kiss the curb and get pretty close to the tyres on the way into the final turn. That's the Hyundai N curve and firing over the start-finish line. Again they go. 151.1 for the race leader, 151.0 for Frijns. Frijns closes the gap a little as Lucas Sauer comes in.
Pit stop light. You're the first car to stop. You get the scrubbed set. Hold the brakes during pit stop.
So Lucas Sauer, the first of the pit stoppers. He was the last to come into the pits yesterday. He's the first today. Actually finished the race in 10th place, but got a penalty of 4 seconds for overtaking by going off the track, which put Jonathan Aberdeen back into the final point. Jonathan was the driver yesterday to pit earlier than everybody on lap 6. You can't pit for the first 5 laps in DTM this year. So Auer is going to have a long second stint on his tyres. But again, when you're starting or when you're running at the back of the field, it's worth trying something different. It worked to a point yesterday for Mike Rockenfeller, and it worked as well for Jonathan Aberdeen, who started last but got into the points. So Robin Frijns at times quicker than the race leader. That gap has hovered around 1 second since the very beginning of the race, really. Sometimes just under, sometimes just over. Or somebody going well wide in the background. Is that Fabio Scherer, I think, having a huge moment. He's going to rejoin. He's going to rejoin down the order behind Harrison Newey. So he recovers. That was a wild ride. I don't know whether his tyres any good whatsoever. All the dust and bits of gravel that he will have picked up. He might have damaged the surface of the tyre as well. So that might be a change of plan for Fabio Scherer and the WRT team. Just kicking the back end of the 53 Audi out a little bit was Jamie Green as he came out of the chicane. And indeed, Fabio comes into the pits. I wonder if he was going to come in anyway, or if that was a decision made for him, having potentially damaged the tyres. Way out wide. Just about avoiding the barriers. It's very similar to what Jonathan Aberdeen did in the qualifying session yesterday, just after he set the absolute best first sector time of anybody out there. Scherer becomes the second driver to come into the pits. Muller leads 1.058 seconds. Frijns is keeping him honest here. Fabio Scherer comes in, and the team now work away to get the tyres changed. No refueling, of course.
You should fight with hour, watch out the line on exit, push to pass and DRS, don't forget about that, you will be in free air.
So WRT send Fabio Scherer back out, like a pretty decent pit stop for the Belgian team, by Vincent Vos. Team managed by Sebastian Visser, and this young charge, Fabio Scherer, looking to score his first point in the DTM. They've got close a couple of times already this season. Here's the battle between the top two through the first sector. Muller was fractionally quicker on this lap, 51.514, 51.572 for Frijns. So just over half a tenth of a second, the difference between them. Frijns had the quicker top speed through the speed trap though, and is quicker through the second sector. He's got all of that time back. So it's almost an identical time between them at the moment. A tenth quicker than Rast, Rockenfeller and Duval through the second sector. The third sector is the shortest. Good exit from the final turn for Nico Muller. He comes past the commentary box window now, and the time he registers is a 151.401, but Frijns is a bit quicker, 151.340. It's Thomas Beermeyer, the team principal for Team Abt Sportsline, who run both of these drivers. Runners-up to Team Rosberg last year in the team's championship, but winning it comfortably this year, thanks to the excellent performances of the team and of the two drivers that are ahead of the pack here. There's 6 seconds between the race leader and René Rast in third place now. There's 5 seconds behind Robin Frijns in third. Rast just did a 151.7 and Rockenfeller just did a 151.5. So the gap between those two is coming down. And also Duval has got his head down now. He's pulling away from the pack. And Duval quicker than both of them with a 151.4. It's 1.6 seconds behind Rockenfeller. You just see him getting a bit bigger in the mirrors. So the red and white car of Rast running third, fourth from Rockenfeller, and fifth, quicker than both of them by a couple of tenths, like Duval. It's only 2 or 3 laps ago they had Jamie Green breathing down his neck. Jamie's just fallen away a little bit now. He is, though, himself a couple of lengths clear of Sheldon van der Linde. So just spreading out there a little bit. Van der Linde's just set a personal best, though, through the first sector. Gained close to 0.2 of a second on Jamie Green there. So maybe it's coming back to the South African now. He's within a second of the British driver. There's Robin Frijns. What was he through the first sector? It's the first sector where Robin loses out, but it's only a tiny amount. It's only by half a tenth of a second. So the second sector, which runs up to the entrance to the chicane, is generally quicker, and he gets that time back. So the start of the lap, the leader's quicker. The middle of the lap, Frijns is quicker. And at the end of the lap, Frijns has been a fraction quicker as well over the last couple of laps, but not always. So through they go, 151.417, 151.449. Very tight indeed. Almost nothing between them. Right, a couple more pit visitors now coming in for relatively early stops in this race.
Pit lane.
Eng and Glock make their stops.
Philip, 23 laps remaining. 3 laps remaining. You have 1 DRS lap more than Timo. Similar DRS as the other car. 23 laps remaining. Manage your brake bias. Stop light, white line.
So it's going to be Eng coming out ahead of Glock as Ferdinand Habsburg comes in to make his stop in the number 62 WRT.
We will come out right behind Scherer. Keep us informed regarding the bouncing. Fast lane clear, go, go, go. Watch the white line on the exit. Keep us informed about the balance.
So keep us informed about the bouncing, about the balance. So Ferdinand Habsburg not too happy with the car. It's his teammate Fabio Scherer, who stopped earlier, that's going to come out in front of him. He was in front of him, of course, before the pit stops. No tyre warmers in DTM, so with all that horsepower, close to 600 horsepower, more than that when you press the push to pass button, you have to be very careful on the tyres, which are cold as you like when they go out onto the circuit. Got the very top sheen on the surface of the Hankook tyres as well, so you've got to bed them in without damaging them, get them up to temperature, which takes about half a lap or so. And that's why you'll see the drivers weaving this way than that when they can on the straights. As you just saw there from the blue BMW of Philippine. Right, Loic de Waal is the first of the front-running pack to come in, and Sheldon van der Linde is going to make a stop as well. So those two come in now. De Waal from 5th, van der Linde from 7th place. Rast and Rockenfeller, the gap between those two is about the same as the gap between the top two. It's just over 1 second. So for now, Green is promoted to 5th, Aberdeen is promoted to 6th, Robert Kubica into 7th, but on his tail, Marco Wittmann, who's promoted up to 8th place during this pit stop period. Away goes Sheldon van der Linde. He was behind Loic de Waal coming into the pit.
Go, 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 go.
6.7 seconds, he's going to be closer to him, but de Waal should get out just in front. De Waal and the team were also under investigation yesterday for an unsafe release, but that one was deemed to be fine. And there's no question about this one. Good stop though for both crews there. They come out in front of Philippe, Timo Glock and Lucas Auer, who've already made their pit stops in this race. So they get their tyres up to temperature, but they've got enough of a gap here not to have to worry about having to defend from Philippe, the race winner in the DTM, and Timo Glock, former F1 racer, a 5-time winner in DTM. Oh, that was down at the Dunlop hairpin and through the gravel trap with an unsettled car. So it's a second hardest point on the brakes, that, on the way into the hairpin, and it's a downhill run, so the back of the car goes pretty light, and if you've got a car which is a bit imbalanced, it can send you through the gravel trap, and particularly when you're just trying to get your tyres up to speed. It can be a real challenge, that corner, as Mike Rockenfeller comes in, so he's trying something similar to yesterday. Another early-ish pit stop, not quite as early compared to the others as previously. Ernst Moser and Team Phoenix.
Pit lane. Copy, mate. Good stint, very good stint. You will come out 3 seconds in front of de Waal, so don't worry about him. We are aiming to undercut Rast. He has 2 more DRS more than you. Pace is really good. We want to use the DRS on the way out on the first few laps to make the gap a bit purple on the way in, so strong pace.
Right, Rockenfeller in, looking at 67 seconds. Good start. 77 seconds.
So 20 laps to go, 20 laps to go. You'll be clear on pit exit. de Waal will be behind you, 3 seconds gap.
So Rockenfeller sent on his way by race engineer Jamie Gomes and comes out well clear of Loic de Waal and Sheldon van der Linde. They'll close up to him on this lap. So the rear wing, the DRS deployed there to make the cars quicker in a straight line. Much more use of DRS in a race than in previous years. They get the push to pass as well, which boosts the car by another 60 horsepower. So Rockenfeller, the leading pit stopper, 10 laps, pitting later than he did yesterday. Followed by de Waal, van der Linde, Engelk, Glock and Auer are the top 6 of the pit stoppers. Nico Muller's lead has grown, by the way, to 1.5 seconds over the last 2 or 3 laps. On the last lap, in fact, he got 3/10 on Robin Frijns, so a 1:51.4 for the lead, 1:51.7 for Frijns. Time for Frijns to get rid of the tyres. Well, it's actually going to be Muller that comes in first. Muller was the first of the top 3 to come in yesterday, and he's going to be joined by René Rast. So Robin Frijns will pick up the lead of the race for now. Muller in.
Pit lane. Copy pit lane. Remember brake balance. It will be 20 laps to go. 1 more than yesterday. Robin was behind. Then René and Rocky 6 seconds behind you. Rocky pitted 2 laps ago. René now used a bit of DRS and closed the gap to 4 seconds. Robin has 16 DRS. René 14 DRS. Rocky 13 DRS. Will be 20 laps to go. René also pitted. Pit lane is clear. Go, go, go. 20 laps to go.
7
Robin
seconds.
will stop in the next 1 to 2 laps.
And what can Team Rosberg do for René Rast? It's a slower stop, I'm afraid. 8.4 seconds for the reigning champion. So Muller out, Rast just merging now, but here comes Mike Rockenfeller with his tyres already up to temperature. And later in this lap, he's going to be pretty close to the tail of René Rast. You would suspect he's not close enough to have a lunge through this first sequence of corners. The objective was for Team Phoenix, was for Mike Rockenfeller to undercut Rast, but it hasn't happened yet. investigation for leaving the track is Harrison Newey. As in leaving the track to gain an advantage. Right, Rockenfeller eating up the advantage then of René Rast as he gets his tyres up to temperature. This is your chance, Mike, you've got to take it now. René Rast, though, positions the car in exactly the right place to defend his place. Mike Rockenfeller is all over him, going left, going right, almost tapping the back of the champions. Audi, they're both sent out wide as one understeers, the other tries to get on the gas early. Mike Rockenfeller still can't find a way through. Both of them ahead of Loic Duval here on the brakes on the way into the Dunlop hairpin. Now, can he get a better exit here? Terrific driving this from René Rast, just positioning the car in exactly the right place. He hasn't got the grip yet, but he's defending the position somehow as they go through the Schumacher S. And the longer it goes on, the harder it's going to be for Mike Rockenfeller to find a way through here. And I reckon René might have just about got that covered off.
And Nico as well. You will be clear with Rast and Rocky. You have 5 seconds to them. And Nico will be 1 second ahead of you or just at the pit exit.
Harrison Newey, as you saw from the graphic, has got a 5-second penalty for leaving the track to gain an advantage. It's going to be added on to his time at the end of the race. Robin Frijns in, though, from what was the lead, or virtual lead, but effectively second place before all the pit stops happened. And he was 1.5 seconds behind Nico Müller, who is to the right of your picture. This effectively is for the lead of the race once all the pit stops are done. And Müller is going to be through comfortably, and also he'll be able to pull away on his warmer tyres. Frijns has got the opportunity to get some of that back at the end of the race with slightly fresher tyres, but there's only 1 lap between their pit stops, so it's not a huge difference. So Müller effectively retains the lead of the race, is the leading pit stopper from Frijns, Rast, Rockenfeller and Duval. Jamie Green has picked up the lead of the race, and Jonathan Aberdeen second. Robert Kubica in 3rd place. They haven't been in the pits yet, nor has Wittmann in 4th, nor has Newey, who's up to 5th place now, but with his penalty looming for him. Can use DRS in 50% of the expected total number of the laps of the race this year, whereas it was only 12 laps last year. Right, this is why René Rast had a slightly slower pit stop. It was a sticky right rear by the looks of it, just wouldn't come off. Such a hard job, this. You've got to be as quick as a flash, but calm and slow everything down as well. Something just gets slightly out of sync and you lose a second or two. That can take a long time for the driver to try and make back up and they get back out on the track. Rast indeed has managed to fend off Mike Rockenfeller. Stays behind him. Duval's a bit closer as well. And Mike Rockenfeller will have slightly older tyres at the end of the race as well. Desperate to get up onto the podium this year if he can. So Müller and Frijns through. Then Rast and Rockenfeller. It's almost a status quo really, not too much has changed. René Rast surviving in terms of staying ahead of Mike Rockenfeller despite the fact that he lost a couple of seconds in the pit stop with that replay that you saw, which was, in the end, over 8 seconds for the pit stop. It should have been somewhere like 6.5 seconds if it was a very good pit stop. Even that's fast, isn't it? 8.3 seconds. Right, rear-facing camera from the 2-time champion, the 19-time race winner in the DTM. And here we've got a battle developing with Timo Glock having to go very defensive here. Philipp Eng is trying to get past him. Both came into the pits together, you remember, earlier on in the race, but Glock staying ahead for now. Eng pushing on hard, trying to find a way through the Mercedes-Benz arena. Had a second gear for that left-hander before they start to wind the power back up on the exit to that turn. And charging then down towards the left-hander at turn 5. Take that one at about 150 kilometers an hour. Here's a replay. And it was Glock down the inside, but then, because he was late on the brakes, deep into the corner, Philipp Eng came back at him. And they were side by side on the way into the left-hander at Mercedes. Well-timed move from Timo Glock. Took a little bit of curb with the front of the car, but didn't ride it anything like as much as we'd seen from Robin Frijns yesterday. Eng coming back at him, but Glock stealing the position in the end. There's your race leader, Nico Müller. His gap continuing to grow over Robin Frijns. The last lap for Müller was a 1:51.087, which is pretty competitive. And Robin Frijns waiting for his lap time to come through now at the end of this lap, having pitted a lap later. But But the gap, which was 1.5 seconds, I would say, has grown quite a bit between those two since the pit stops happened. That was a pretty good stop from Team Up Sportsline for Robin Frijns. Muller has made the time up on the in-there laps, I think. And he's looking back again for René Rast at White Rockefeller's car. They're currently 8th and 9th, but they're battling for third place effectively. Through they go. What was the gap then between Muller and Frijns? Muller did a 150.9, Frijns did a 150.4, so he was quicker, but the gap's 3.3 seconds now. So it doubled. He went from a 1.5 seconds to, well, more than double, to over 3.5 seconds at one point. Robin Frijns, though, a little bit quicker on that lap, trying to get some of the gap down to the race leader, to the Swiss driver, who's looking for his second race win of the weekend, Nico Muller, to further extend his advantage at the top of the table. There's only one driver so far this season that's won both races on a weekend, and guess who that was? Nico Muller at Spa, races 1 and 2 of the season. Can you repeat that feat now? As I said a couple of times this weekend, when you've had this much of an advantage in terms of speed over everybody else, then you've got to take advantage of that, and he'll be looking to get 2 wins out of this, looking to get a perfect score. 2 wins, 2 pole positions, 56 points on the board. René Rast is starting to eke away now from Mike Rockenfeller, just a little bit. There's not very much in it. But Rast definitely seems to have got into a bit of a flow now, a bit of a rhythm. You see Jonathan Aberdeen coming into the pits, past the pit lane entrance through the commentary box window, and Nimi's in as well.
Pressure for your tires.
So Harrison
in front, just stop in the box, he'll count to 5, and then he'll release you. Then we do a normal stop. You have 17 laps to go until the end of the race. Use your 15 laps, use your DRS and push to pass. You have 24 allocations of push to pass left.
Harrison Newey then serving his 5-second penalty. Loic Duval didn't serve it yesterday. He'd already made his pit stop at that point, so it was doubled to a 10-second penalty. Jonathan Aberdeen is going to come out behind the Glock-Eng battle, which is still raging on. Eng trying to get the place back on the way into turn 1. Shadowing Timo Glock, having a real tussle, these two. Terrific battle. Timo Glock, he bases himself at the circuit for the weekend, brings his motor home, parks it up in the paddock, and that's a bit more of a line than those who have to travel out to the hotels in the nearby villages. Although a lot of them, I suspect, are staying at the hotels which are just outside the main complex. So fastest lap of the race for Robin Frijns. 1:49.9 last time around, where Muller was a 1:50.299, so again against 0.3 of a second, and there you can see the gap, which had stretched out to 3.7 seconds, is now back to 1.8, so he's almost recovered all of the time that he lost during that pit stop period. Just about 1.5 seconds or so when Muller came in to make his stop. Frijns will have slightly fresher tyres at the end of the race as well, which might just come into play. He's going for it. Make some amends, wouldn't it, if he could get a race win here? And this is the most that Nico Muller has been under pressure all weekend long. You can see Marco Wittmann has come into the pits in his BMW. So that just leaves Jamie Green now, who leads the race for the time being to make his pit stop. He's trying a very different strategy to yesterday, Jamie, where he came in early. Wittmann, penultimate pit stopper.
And go, go, go. Expect Aberdeen at the pit exit. Make use of your advantages. 15 laps to go.
Team RMG driver is going to come out again, I think behind Philippe Eng, who's flashing his lights all the way down the start-finish straight. Come on, Timo, get a move on, he says. Auer, and then Aberdeen. I think he'll probably drop in behind Jonathan Aberdeen. Right, look at this, on board with Robin Frijns attacking the race leader. Nico Muller's advantage just slowly dwindles today. Robin Frijns much closer to him in qualifying, and this is far and away the closest that anybody has been to Nico Muller in a race. Apart from the first corner at the start of the race, nobody's really been able to put him under any pressure, but Robin Frijns is the man that has found the pace, has a half a look on the way down into the hairpin. This is critical as well. With 8 races to go after this, Robin Frijns doesn't want to lose another 7 points to the championship leader. 25 points for a win, 18 points for second. It'll be a 14-point swing this, if he can pull it off. Now we saw yesterday, Robin Frijns is not the sort of driver that's going to back out of a chance. He's going to go for it now. A lot of us didn't think we'd see anybody pushing Nico Müller this hard, given how much of a dominance he had yesterday, but here comes Robin Frijns, and Robin's going to get the lead of the race on the way into the Vidal chicane. We've got a new race leader. Not quite yet, because Green hasn't been in the pits, but effectively, that is your new race leader, Robin Frijns. Green is going to be in the mix somewhere in the points, but when he makes his pit stop, it's going to be these two fighting for the victory. And Robin Frijns, already a race winner at Assen just 8 days ago on the Saturday in the Netherlands, now leading here, and Green's in, so they effectively move into first and second. Where is Jamie Green going to emerge in all of this? He's going to drop back down the pack for sure, but he's going to have nice new tyres on the car. He's going to get out just in front of Eng, but he's going to have Eng and Glock breathing down his neck by the time they get to turn 2, and he'll do well to keep them behind. In fact, he goes oh so wide through turn 1. Eng is already through. Glock now needs to make sure he gets past as well. So Eng back ahead of Glock this time when we see them. He's flashing his lights last time we saw them trying to get past Glock, who's now disposed of Jamie Green. So Green drops back in behind them. Eng 7th, Glock 8th, Green 9th, I reckon. That's where they'll be. But Jamie will be one to watch in the remaining 10 or 15 laps of the race, where everybody else's tyres are going to go off, and he's still going to have relatively new Hankook rubber on the car. So he's very much in the mix here for a decent result, Jamie Green. Here's a replay of the move for the lead of the race, effectively from Robin Frijns. Fairly comfortably done on the way into the chicane under braking. And there was no question he was going to have a go, and there was no question he was going to pull off that move. It was executed to absolute perfection. So we'll see how Jamie Green gets on the second stint now, once he starts to get his tyres up to temperature. Hasn't been in the points for 3 races, Jamie. One tremendous podium finish from a long way down the grid. Second place finish at Spa in the first race of the season has been it in terms of silverware for him. A couple of 4th place finishes, but a frustrating season so far, which is really a result of not being able to qualify as high as he normally does. Frijns 2.2 seconds clear already. His first full lap after overtaking Nico Müller. And on that lap, a 150.4 versus a 152.1. Not only was it a good lap from Frijns, it was a pretty slow one from Müller, as Jonathan Aberdeen now draws alongside Lucas Auer and pulls off the move on the way into turn 1 to put himself into the points, into 10th place. So these two fighting over the final point again, as it was yesterday, but much earlier in the race. Still 20 minutes to go plus 1 lap. On board with Nico Müller. Look at the gap already that Frijns has pulled here. Pretty impressive stuff, but is he going to take too much life out of his tyres? Is Nico hanging back to make sure he's quick at the end of the race? Frijns had to go for it, but Nico, he's oddly off the pace at the moment. But as I say, has he got a problem, or is he nursing the tyres to then fire it back up later in the race? Certainly not as straightforward as it was yesterday for him. You can see René Rast there, well clear now of Mike Rockenfeller, about a second between them as it stands. But the next one over the brow, René Rast, and then Mike Rockenfeller, you can see, who was right with him after René's pit stop, is now around about 6 or 7 car lengths back. Luke de Val is 5th, Sheldon van der Linde 6th, Philippe and Timo Glock 7th and 8th, Jamie Green on the newer tyres 9th, the last of the pit stoppers, and Jonathan Aberdeen 10th after that move into turn 1 on Lucas Auer. Marco Wittmann 12th, a late pit stopper as well, is another one that might come through in the remaining third of the race. The number 11 BMW, Kubica is 13th, Scherer 14th, Newey 15th, served his penalty and lost more time in the pits. Ferdinand Habsburg is struggling with the car currently and in 16th place. So Frijns 2.9 seconds the advantage over the man you're looking at, Nico Müller. No problems for Thomas Beermeyer, because he's still got one of his cars in the lead of the race and one of his cars in second, just the other way around than they were prior to the pit stops and just after the pit stops. So 151.1 for Robin Frijns and 151.7 for Muller. It was a better lap, but it was still nowhere near as quick as Frijns. And also catching him up by 0.8 of a second was René Rast, who's now just 5 seconds behind the second place car. Did a 150.9. Rockenfeller did a 151.6. So fell away. A 151.7 for Duval, a 151.5 for Van der Linde. Replay of Jamie Green going on the attack. And it wasn't without contact with Jonathan Aberdeen as he hit the curbs and then hit the BMW. Aberdeen, though, keeping his nose in front at that point. But through the last time split, it was Green ahead of Aberdeen in 9th, hanging on to the place. Aberdeen on a good run here. Aberdeen, in the previous lap, got rid of Lucas Auer out of the top 10. So Robin Frijns, the man of the moment. Not many people expected this, but Robin was confident when he spoke to Verena on the grid. He knew he got a better feel for the car here this weekend than he had at any other point so far this weekend coming into this race. René Rast, is he going to be able to catch up to the championship leader as well? Robin Frijns would rather like that if René Rast could take some more points away from Nico Muller. Muller out of the final turn at Hyundai N-Curva. It's a 151.397 for Frijns, a 151.8 for Muller, who's starting to get quicker again, Muller. Still losing time. Look at this, Jamie Green now getting one of the places back on Timo Glock. Good move that on the way to the final turn. About to come past the commentary box window. He's only a couple of lengths behind the next car, but it's Aberdeen. Aberdeen had got ahead of him, so we didn't see. We saw them battling together. Aberdeen did make it through in the end. So Aberdeen is 8th, Green is 9th, Glock is 10th. And then Marco Wittmann has got past Lucas Auer for 11th place. So he's the other one to watch. He was the last but one to come into the pits, Marco, in the green and white BMW, the 2014 and 2016 DTM champion. Lucas Auer hanging on to him. So first of all, Aberdeen getting past Glock, and then Jamie Green. That was on the chicane, and then coming out of the chicane, Jamie Green must get a good run here, because it was as they went into the final corner that we got to that battle and we got to Jamie Green coming through. Here's the viewpoint from Timo Glock's car. And Jamie, with much fresher tyres on, just able to put it down the inside, and the car gripped to the line. So Robin Frijns, 3.3 second advantage, took another half a second away from Muller on the previous lap, and Muller lost another 7/10 to René Rast. So René's 4.3 seconds behind Muller now. That gap coming down. On board with René Rast. No troubles from behind. He's nearly 2 seconds clear of Mike Rockenfeller now, pulling away from the rest of the field, trying to catch up to the championship leader on the way through the Vidal chicane. There's Rockenfeller in the background in 4th place, and Duval just coming into shots in 5th. Sheldon van der Linde 6th. They look relatively spaced out, those 3 drivers. And the real battle to come for 7th place, because you got Philippe Eng with Jonathan Aberdeen and Jamie Green coming after him in the next couple of laps. Right there he's Eng. They've taken a lot of time out of him already on this lap. There was a much bigger gap last time we saw them. Flash the headlights, try and put off the driver ahead, trying to nerve him. Philippe Eng is a very experienced driver, under braking. The gap comes right down on the way into turn 1. Aberdeen having a really good race here, but the quickest one of the trio is probably going to be Jamie Green on those newer tyres. More than 200 races in the DTM for the man from Leicester. Looking for, as I say, his first points for a little while. Here's a replay of Marco Wittmann on Timo Glock. Timo's struggling with the tyres now, isn't he? And that was easy pickings for Marco. So that now puts him into the points, into 10th place on the way into the Vidal chicane. Right, Enger's already been passed by Aberdeen. He's now got Jamie Green on his case, and the car drifting out wide just looks a little bit imbalanced. Jamie Green's car looks completely underneath him, and it's an easy move on the way into the right-hander at the Dunlop curve. So Aberdeen is now 7th, having already pulled off the move and pulled clear of Eng. And Eng's lost another one now. So Aberdeen 7th, Green 8th. Philippe Eng down to 9th place, with Marco Wittmann probably coming after him pretty rapidly. Yeah, there he is, just coming over the brow, over the crest of the hill in the BMW, the green and white RMG car. Last lap time for the race leader, Robin Frijns, was a 151.8, 152.2 for Muller. He's struggling on this set of tyres, big time, compared to how well he was going in the first part of the race. He'll be hugely frustrated with this. It's still a great weekend if you get 2 poles, a win and a second, but I'm sure he went into this thinking race victory, number 5 of the season, and it's not working out that way with 13 minutes and 18 seconds left to go. And he also might be in trouble for second place because René Rast has got the gap down to 2.7 seconds. Here are 2 of the drivers flying through the field, Jonathan Aberdeen and Jamie Green, both early pit stoppers yesterday, but not so today. Eng, at the end of this lap, is going to have Marco Wittmann right underneath his rear wing as well. You're on board with the double champion now. Twice a race winner at the Nürburgring, ran the sprint version of the circuit. And absolutely flying at this stage of the race with 12 3/4 minutes to go, making their way out through turns 2, 3 and 4 at the end of the Mercedes Arena, in front of the grandstands, and on the way through to the very quick left-hander at turn 5, which is taken at 150 or approached at 150 kilometres now. 3rd gear through there, through the right-hander at turn 6, and then downhill. This lovely section of track sweeping downhill into the hairpin at the Dunlop curve, which is down to 80 kilometres an hour or so in 2nd gear, with a variety of different racing lines that you can take into that part of the course. Wittmann closing in. Aberdeen and Green have just left Philippe Eng in their wake. Marco Wittmann will be keen to not hang around behind the Austrian for very long at all. Expecting to get past Philippe Eng and be hoping to try and catch the other 2 up. So, on board with Marco Wittmann, working away at the wheel here. Through Van Bogen in 6th gear, 250 kilometres an hour, up to 270 kilometres an hour. And here he goes, down the inside to gain the place on Eng. That's going to put him up to 9th position. There you can see the huge gap that's now developed between Frijns and the blue number 4 Audi and Nico Muller in the green and white championship leading car, his teammate. 4.3 seconds between them now, and Rast continues to close the gap. He's 1.7 seconds behind now. There you can see he's got it down over the last 3 laps from 3.6 seconds to just 1.7 seconds. That last lap, again, it was a 1:52 for Muller, 1:52.0. He lost a second to René Rast on that lap, who did a 1:51.053. Almost a second anyway. So Muller absolutely struggling on this set of tyres. It was all pretty good at the start of the race. He wasn't dominant like he was yesterday in the first half of the race, and then he was uber dominant in the second half of the race. This time, it's not working out for him. I think at this stage he'd be happy with 2nd place, because odds are that René Rast is going to catch him and have plenty of time to try and find a way through. Right, working together now to try and catch the group up. Jonathan Aberdeen and Jamie Green. Green much later on the brakes on the way into the Dunlop hairpin, using those new tyres, able to leave the braking to the last possible millisecond and able to keep the traction coming out of the corner as well. Green flying in the 53 machine, just 0.4 of a second behind Aberdeen at the start of the lap, far less than that now. Super slow-mo replay of Lucas Auer getting the back end loose and having to take to the grass and cut the corner. Sparks flying as he rejoined. No advantage gained. All he could do to avoid the spin. Right, Jamie Green, is he going to have a look at the inside? No, Jonathan Aberdeen is going to cover the line off here. The South African keeps the British driver behind him for now. Maybe half a chance on the way into the final turn for Jamie Green. Thinks about it, closes up. Here's a great shot as they whiz past the camera within a few centimetres of it. And René Rast has caught up to Nico Muller as they get to turn 1 with 9.5 minutes plus 1 lap to go. This the battle for 2nd place. Just 0.6 of a second behind. 1:52.3 for Muller. It was a slow lap again. 1:51.2. 1.1 seconds quicker on that lap was René Rast. When somebody's that much quicker, doesn't matter how well you defend, it's going to be very hard to try and keep the 2-time champion behind him. But these were the 2 battling all the way through last year for the 2019 title, which in the end went to René Rast, despite the fact that Nico Muller was in the mix for most of the season with his nose ahead at times. So Rast closing up. 54 points adrift of the championship leader. Need to look to take some points away from the Swiss driver. This is the rear front-facing camera from Muller, and you're on board with René Rast with a second shot, biding his time. He's quicker than Frijns as well at this stage of the race, René Rast, so might half think about trying to close that gap if he can dispatch with Nico Muller in quick, sharp time. You can see him just about in the distance. On board with Rast then. On the way through Advenboga, and this is the view back from Nico Muller's car. Right underneath the rear wing comes René Rast now under braking. He's with him when they get to the chicane, but Muller stays ahead. Mike Rockenfeller getting a little bit closer in the background as well. Heat 2 and Duval are both quicker than Muller. So Muller's going to have to work hard to keep second. He's going to have to work hard if René Rast gets past him as well to hold on to a podium finish here. As René Rast now takes his opportunity, pulls out of the slipstream, finds the inside line. He's just got to make sure he slows the car down enough into turn 1. Goes a little bit wide, but not too much. And that is job done. Through into second place for René Rast. The Team Rosberg man splits the two Team AB Sportsline cars, which now run first and third. Thomas Beermeyer looking slightly concerned as Rast got enough time and enough speed to be able to catch up to his other driver, to the race leader, Robin Frijns. It's about 5 seconds clear. It's a big ask. But if anyone can, René can. Here's a replay of the move. It was nicely done. And once he got to the stage where he was alongside, you just got to be careful that you don't outbrake yourself. Fabio Scherer coming back into the pits, I can see in front of the commentary box from last place. Is that going to be a problem, or is that another tyre change? Just 6 3/4 minutes plus 1 lap left on the clock. Muller has dropped far away from René Rast. Is that Rast kicking up the dust though? Yes, Rast making a slight mistake there, and it means that Muller is going to be back on him when they get to the next turn. Oh, just about holding on to the place here is René Rast. And that probably answers the question about whether or not he can catch Robin Frijns. He pulled well clear, and he just looked like he put a couple of wheels through the gravel trap. Pulling back away now, but Muller was back with him very, very suddenly. Pushing a bit too hard through the exit to the Schumacher S's. So, Mike Rockenfeller now lines up Nico Muller, looking for his first podium of the season here. Mike Rockenfeller, not too far away. Here's a replay. Oh, it went right off the road, all 4 wheels through the gravel trap. That was a wild ride from René Rast, but he kept his position. Wouldn't have done his tyres any good though, nor his chances of catching up to Robin Frijns, who's more than 6 seconds clear now in the lead of the race with just 5 3/4 minutes to go. Now it is all about who's going to be on the podium with Frijns and Rast. Rockenfeller and Duval will both fancy their chances here. Sheldon van der Linde maybe a little bit too far back. Looking at the progress of Aberdeen and Green as well. Aberdeen is 5.8 seconds behind van der Linde in 6th. Jamie Green is still with him. Still running together, those two in 7th and 8th. Wittmann 9th, Eng still in 10th place. Well clear of Lucas Auer in 11th. So Rocky disappointed with 4th place yesterday, even though it was his equal best result of the season. He really wanted a podium. And there'll be a big old cheer at Team Phoenix if you can find a way past Nico Muller to get them a podium in their home race here. Mike 4th in the championship last year. His last podium was the last race of 2019 where he finished 2nd at Hockenheim. He had 2 podiums that weekend, in fact. So it's not exactly been a barren spell. He's been getting good points in, but now's the time to kick off the second half of the season with the podium. Ooh, there's a huge amount of smoke there. Someone's got a proper lock-up on the way into the Vidal chicane. Into that corner now goes your race leader, Robin Frijns. There is René Rast, the gap 6.2 seconds. And that's losing time on the previous lap, of course, with that run through the gravel trap. Mike Rockenfeller, 4th place. It'll be his fourth place if he finishes where he is. Fabio Scherer's come back into the pits. I suspect it was him having the huge lock-up. I think he's got some sort of braking issue or tyre issue. There's Jamie Green, who was 0.4 of a second behind Jonathan Aberdeen when last we saw them. And here's Robert Kubica on Timo Glock on the way into the chicane. Kubica through, that's up to 12th place. Oh, side by side and too close together were Green and Aberdeen. And that was Green then having to take to the grass, big style. Aberdeen was delayed as well. And they're both going to have their own opinions about that. The end result is they both suffer, they both lose time. And so Aberdeen actually came out of that the better of the two. And had 2.5 seconds clear of Jamie Green. He's 7th, Green is 8th. And the problem for Jamie Green is that Marco Wittmann is now not far behind him in 9th place. That incident is being investigated. The graphic incorrect there. It said between Aberdeen and Rast, but it's between Aberdeen and Green, as you just saw on the replay. Like Kubica then, having got ahead of Timo Glock, has pulled well clear of him. Graphic corrected. Timo Glock now having to keep an eye on the mirrors because he's got Harrison Newey for company. This is the battle for 13th place. Newey trying to recover from this pit stop penalty after a pretty decent start to the race. Remember, he started at the back of the field, having had his times taken away from qualifying. Ferdinand Habsburg was the other driver to suffer that, who's been slightly anonymous in this race, running towards the back of the field. So Robin Frijns through. The gap's under 6 seconds, but surely there's not time for René Rast to catch up. 2.5 minutes plus 1 lap to go. Now, Mike Rockenfeller, what can you find here to dig deep and to find a way somehow past Nico Muller? Have you got enough push to pass his left? Have you got enough DRS left to use to go on the attack here? Do the rear wings open up or not? Have they both used up all their DRS? This is open. And the gap stays pretty similar between all 3 cars, with Duval now very much involved in this fight as well. 3rd, 4th and 5th you're looking at, under 2 minutes to go. It's probably the most frustrating place to finish 4th, isn't it? Just out of the limelight, just away from the trophies. Timo Glock is about to be passed by Harrison Newey. They've just gone side by side past the commentary box window, and Newey had the inside line. So I reckon Newey will be 13th when they get to turn 1. And Timo Glock really struggling with his tyres. It's been a pretty miserable race for him, I'm afraid. Having had a decent season so far, he's 5th in the standings. So there's the battle for 3rd. Nico Muller doing a fine job, though, of keeping Mike Rockenfeller and Loic Duval at bay. Sheldon van der Linde trying his best to catch them up. He's doing it bit by bit, but only a 10th or so quicker. 1/10 of a second. That's 10 laps just to get a second back. The time is running out. Jamie Green has started to catch back up to Jonathan Aberdeen as well. So that could be an interesting final lap if he gets back onto the tail of the number 27 BMW and the South African. No love lost between the two of them after that moment we saw on the replay, one would suspect. Incident under investigation, but no news about that. I don't think that will come and be looked at until after the race. So Robin Frijns looking for his 2nd win in just over a week. 2nd win in 8 days, having had to wait 3 seasons, 2.5 seasons to get his first. And it's been unexpected, this. Certainly unexpected to find Nico Muller down in 3rd place. He's a man who keeps scoring points, though. When he's not winning races, he's usually on the podium. He's only off the podium once this season so far, but he might be about to fall off it again because Mike Rockenfeller's got his nose in front, outside line, but that gives you the inside line for turn 2. Using all of the track, Mike Rockenfeller goes for it, and he puts the Team Phoenix Audi into 3rd place. Muller down to 4th, couldn't do anything about it, and he's got to try and defend hard from Loic Duval now in the other Team Phoenix Audi. Can they get a 3rd and a 4th here? It'd be a great race for them if they can. Rocky, no chance that he wasn't going to go for that move. Still looking calm and relaxed, the championship leader. Still got a big advantage in the points with 8 races to go after this one. It's just about damage limitation now. But who would have thought this after yesterday? Nico Muller doesn't look like he's even going to make the podium. Clever stuff this from Rockenfeller. Let it run out wide. Thought 4 wheels off the track, mind. And then into the left-hander at turn 2. He got the line sorted. Aberdeen and Green have to change position. So the stewards have decided that Jonathan Aberdeen has got to let Jamie Green through. That he was at fault for that one. And that will be a swap for 7th place then. Green has already caught him up anyway. And a warning for Aberdeen for forcing another car off the track. So Jamie Green is going to get the place back either way. So probably massively out of time, with the clock already ticked down to 0 seconds now to be able to get any more places up. And there goes Loic Duval at the inside of the number 51 Nico Muller Audi, and Muller is down to 5th place. It's going to end up being his joint worst result of the season. Robin Frijns has gone across the line to start the final lap of the race. Rast goes through now to start his final lap of the race in 2nd place. 3rd for his on course for his first podium of the season. Mike Rockenfeller, Duval 4th, Muller 5th. Mind you, if you've had 10 races and your 2 worst results are both 5th place finishes, you know it's been a pretty good season so far. I'm sure he's going to be disappointed with this, though, massively so. The odds on yesterday for another Nico Muller race victory, especially after qualifying. It was a great job after getting it wrong on the first lap, under pressure to put in a sub 147 and get himself a 2nd pole position this morning. And the race started well, but since that pit stop, that car has not been underneath Nico. Nothing like. He's really struggled with that set of tyres. So Robin Frijns with a huge advantage, not as big as Nico's yesterday, but it's big enough. 4.5 seconds clear of René Rast. He's going to score 25 points. And down in 5th place, it's role reversal, isn't it? Because Frijns was 5th yesterday and Muller was 1st. 25 points for him, 10 points for Muller. And the gap in the championship table will come down from 44 to 34 points. Still a big advantage for Muller, but that's a nice chunk of points to take away. 10 in one race. Robin Frijns then, very nearly there, very nearly about to become a 2-time race winner in the DTM. Hits the brakes, negotiates the Vidal chicane for one more time, accelerates out of there. She's just got to turn right through the Hyundai N-curver. And Robin Frijns, against all expectation, comes out of the final corner and wins round 10 of the 2020 DTM Championship. He takes the flag, René Rast in 2nd.
There you go, mate. 2nd one. Good job.
Yes!
You are the man of the day. Good job, buddy.
And Mike Rockenfeller gets his first podium of the season.
Please save fuel and take tire pickup.
Duval 4th, Muller 5th, Van der Linde 6th, Jamie Green 7th, back in the points, Jonathan Aberdeen 8th, Marco Wittmann 9th, and Philipp Eng holds on for the final point in 10th place. Lucas Auer put 9 of a second behind him in 11th, Kubica 12th, Newey 13th, and a very frustrated Timo Glock coming home back in 14th place. Ferdinand Habsburg will be 15th, Fabio Scherer 5 laps down after a few visits to the pits. Clearly some issue with the car, down in 16th place. So a great way to pick up his 2nd win. He had to work hard for that, the team, to try to close the gap for Robin Frijns on his teammate Nico Muller after yesterday. He was 0.4 of a second behind in qualifying yesterday. He was, well, before he went off into the spin, he was going to be 15 seconds behind at the end of the race as well. Because that's how far Rast was behind at the checkered flag. And it's a huge deficit, but things can change very differently in motorsport, and they often do. As they say, expect the unexpected. And Robin Frijns never gave up on his aspirations of getting a race victory this weekend. So the Dutchman wins for the 2nd time in 8 days for Team Ab Sportsline. It's an Audi victory. Audi Sport Team Rosberg and René Rast in 2nd for the 2nd time this weekend. And Mike Rockenfeller and Audi Sport Team Phoenix can celebrate a podium with his teammate Loic Duval 4th, Muller 5th, Van der Linde 6th, Green 7th, Aberdeen 8th, Wittmann 9th, and then 10th are the other points scorers, with Auer, Kubica, Newey, Glock, Habsburg and Fisichella behind. All the drivers finishing the race once again. Great reliability for these DTM cars this season. Enjoying Robin Frijns on his slow down lap now, making his way back to the pits. As I say, 25 points on the board. He's going to take 10 more away from the 5th place finisher of Muller. There you go, 205 points now for Nico Muller, 176 points for Robin Frijns, and 159 for René Rast. Loic Duval moves on to 85 in 4th, Mike Rockenfeller in 5th on 79 points after that. Sheldon van der Linde 6th on 72, and Timo Glock drops out of the top 5 down to 7th place, staying on 68 points. Marco Wittmann in 8th place, and Jamie Green picking up points for the first time in 4 races, is back up into 9th place in the championship standings. There then they come in, Rockenfeller home first, but the 3rd place finisher, the race winner, comes in next, and René Rast, who has picked up what is his 5th podium of the season and his 2nd podium of the weekend, comes in now 4.2 seconds behind Robin Frijns at the end. Even without that run through the gravel trap, I don't think he would have had time to catch up to Robin, but that was very much on his mind when he was pushing hard, I'm sure of it. So punching the air, just giving a tap on the roof of the car, and a fist bump to René Rast. Great respect between these front runners in the championship in DTM, and it's a terrific victory for Robin Frijns. René Rast goes over to congratulate Mike Rockenfeller on his podium finish as well. That means we've had 12 different drivers on the podium now this season. Mike Rockenfeller joins Muller, Frijns, Rast, Duval, Glock, van der Linde, Wittmann, Green and Auer as podium finishers in 2020. As we get the replay of the moment, with the Dutch flag held aloft by the team, draped over the pit wall, that Robin Frijns took the checkered flag and took the race victory. Excellent stuff by the Dutchman and by the team as well, and his side of the garage to close that deficit. Team Phoenix were happy, very happy with their podium finish, and a smile in the eye, a glint in the eye of Thomas Biermeier, whose team have had another superb weekend, further extending their advantage at the top of the team's championship. They really have done a good job with that car this year, and they have 2 fantastic drivers as well. So too the Team Rosberg, and René Rast is still very much in the mix here. In the middle of the picture there, just congratulating the race winner, is Dieter Gas, head of motorsport for Audi, and they're having a tremendous season in DTM, winning all but 2 of the races so far this year, and in dry conditions they've still got the edge over the BMWs. First BMW home once again, Sheldon van der Linde with a strong drive to 6th place. So the drivers will be called towards the podium in just a few moments' time. I'll have them up in reverse order. 3, 2, then the winning representative of the victorious team, and then of course the race winner. So Mike Rockenfeller, for the first time since October last year, makes his way onto the top step of the podium. Well, not the top step of the podium, not yet. 3rd step of the podium. He'll feel like it though. A well-earned 3rd place. René Rast onto the 2nd step, lifts his trophy aloft. As I say, that is his 5th podium visit of the season. But Robin Frijns has now scored 7 podiums in 2020. And of course 2 race wins. Team Ab Sportsline dominating the points once again in the teams this weekend. They get their winning trophy as the best team in the race, because the best driver in the race was Robin Frijns. There he is, starting to collect these 1st place trophies now. Had to wait a while to get his 1st, didn't have to wait very long to get his 2nd. And that one will taste very sweet indeed, for different reasons to his maiden race victory. We now get the Dutch national anthem. So Robin Frijns becomes the first Dutch driver to win in the DTM since Robin Frijns 8 days ago. Time for the trophies to be hoisted aloft, some photos to be taken, and thumbs up from Mike Rockenfeller. There, Nico Muller watching on. I wonder what he's thinking. But again, he managed to score points. The car just wasn't underneath him in the 2nd half of that race. still got some points in 5th place though. Of course, he's a multiple race winner as a championship leader. He'll be disappointed, no doubt, with the result. Champagne is sprayed then between the top 3 and the team's representative. After a very interesting second race of the weekend. The Mike Rockenfeller's got them good and proper there, didn't he, with the champers. Careful, Mike, they'll get you back next time. And there, that's nice to see. Nico Müller sticking around to congratulate his teammate. Even though they're championship rivals, they are teammates. And a good amount of respect there between the 2 drivers. So, some super slow-mos of our top 3 in round 10 of the championship. Mike Rockenfeller, the first podium of the season for the 2013 champion. 3rd place here at the Nürburgring. And then coming home in 2nd place for the 2nd time this weekend, the driver that's 3rd in the championship standings, René Rast. And René Rast then, off the back of a decent weekend and a decent race, is down in the pit lane speaking to Verena Reitz.
Yes, I've got the man here who's on P2, René Rast. René, you were fighting really hard. It seemed your car was getting faster and faster during the race. So how does P2 feel?
Yeah, better than yesterday. I think yesterday we had no pace in the car. Today, much better. I felt much more comfortable, had more grip overall. So I think we made the right decisions overnight. Still, Robin was a bit quicker. Yeah, in the end we caught up a few points to Nico. Yeah, but it's you know, it's always them 2 in the front. It's very hard to fight them.
Absolutely. Next week we're back at the Nürburgring, but it's going to be the sprint version. So you've got a few days to maybe work on the data. So anything you guys can improve?
Yeah, for sure. There's always something to improve. But I think the positive is that we learned from yesterday, and now we know what we have to do better next time. That's important because next week we are here again. So that's good, and hopefully next time we can win.
All right. Thank you so much, René.
Thank you.
Back to you.
Thanks, Verena. Yeah, René Rast much more buoyant than he was yesterday, even though it's the same results. It was much better pace, and of course he has also taken points away from the championship leader, Nico Müller. It's also worth bearing in mind that on the sprint version of the Nürburgring, which we'll be using next weekend, René Rast had a very good weekend last year, 12 months ago, with a race win in race 1 and a 3rd place finish in race 2. Here then, a replay of the moment that Robin Frijns got down the inside into the chicane and moved ahead of Nico Müller to move into the lead of the race. There, the perspective from Nico Müller. Frijns coming through under braking, and we can hear from him now down in the pit lane with Verena.
I've got the winner here, Robin Frijns. Congratulations, it's your 2nd win. You were working really hard for it, and you did a great overtaking maneuver. So does this feel really good, this win?
Yeah, obviously every win feels good. It's not as good as in Aston because I had a lot of pressure from behind in Aston. Today it was a bit more easy. Unfortunately, Nico had an issue on his car because he was quite slow in the straights. I think at the beginning we were really similar pace. So I think if we didn't have the issue, it was very hard to, it was going to be a good battle, I think, for the victory. And yeah, as soon as he had an issue, I had a good gap from the cars behind, so I just did my laps and drive it home.
Only 8 more races to go. Next weekend we're back here again. So you're looking forward to that?
Yeah, I think we made a big step from Saturday to Sunday. I was much happier with the car today. So as we're driving on the same track next weekend, we're looking, well, it looks promising.
All right, thank you so much, Robin. And while I try to get Rocky, back to you for the moment.
Thanks, Verena. Yeah, same track sort of next weekend. It's going to be a different version of it, a shorter version, so that will have its effects as well on the way the car and the cars are set up. The long-term forecast is, it looks at the moment like it's going to be a pretty good week and weekend next weekend as well with the weather, but I wouldn't really take any notice of the weather forecasts at this part of the world until just before the race weekend begins. Well, it was nice to see Mike Rockenfeller and Team Phoenix back on the podium, and I believe the man in 3rd place is speaking with Verena down in the pit lane.
And here is Mike Rockenfeller. Rocky, congratulations, a great race for you. You're back on the podium, the first time this year. So 3rd place feels really good, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm really happy to get a trophy finally. Like you say, it's only the first time, so I hope I get some more, and the second half of the season is more on our side. It was a tough race. I mean, again, we didn't quite have the pace for the front. In a way, for me, luckily, Nico had a problem, so otherwise I would have not been on the podium. But still, you take it, and we fight for it, and my boys, they deserve it. They worked really hard. I think we were close at a certain point to fight with René for P2 at the, let's say, midway in the race. But at the end, I couldn't go any faster. I was struggling a bit with my tires in the second stint, so overall, I'm very happy.
I bet. And now here with the weather, I mean, it's pretty hot today, actually. How demanding was it out there on the track?
Well, it was okay, actually. I had a good gap in a way to the rear, so I could really focus on myself. Try to manage the race like we have to, and waiting, let's say, that somebody struggles more with the tires in the front. I thought Nico had an issue with the tire, but when I came close, I realized he had an issue with the engine or something, because he was really not that fast on the straight. So it was not so difficult to overtake him, and yeah. Overall, I'm happy, and I think the weather is beautiful here at Nürburgring, which is not always the case. So we can be happy.
We've seen it snow here in the summer, so anything is possible. We're back here next weekend, so who knows what the weather does then. But you've got a few days to maybe optimize a few things, and it's going to be the sprint version. So you're looking forward to that?
Yeah, I have to say I really like that one. It's beautiful to drive, and the sprint one we have done so many times, so we all know it, and I'm ready for it. And it's the same challenge. Probably it will be even closer, the lap times. And the racing, I think it's not that much different. I think the overtaking possibilities are still there, so it doesn't change a lot. But yeah, first time I will arrive, I have to make sure I brake and turn right instead of going straight again.
All right, Rocky, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Back to you.
Thanks very much, Verena. Yeah, a buoyed Mike Rockenfeller there. Great slow-mos, the team celebrating, Ernst Moser's team celebrating on the pit wall as well. And great for Mike Rockenfeller to finally get back in amongst the silverware. And he's certainly looking forward to next weekend and the weekend after that here at the Nürburgring, when he'll be taking part in the 24-hour race. Some final super slow-mos of our top three. That's just about it from me in the commentary box. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage of round 10 of the DTM here at the Nürburgring. Let's hand you back now, though, down to Verena Vrit.
Wow, what a phenomenal weekend we had here at the Nürburgring. And of course, we were also really enjoying the sunshine. And yeah, we saw some phenomenal race action here on the track. And we're all really looking forward to next weekend when we're going to be racing the sprint version. So I hope you're going to join us there. And for now, here are the highlights. Enjoy. See you next weekend.
You are the man of the day. Good job, buddy.